This is verbatim the text of a letter that Dan Arcand, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, just wrote to me on my Patreon, actually, having just joined and wanting to share a number of things after our last live stream, in which we talked about the convoy as it was rolling in. And I have since received many more words from him, and they're all amazing. And, for both in the case of Dan here and Tara, who's the mother of Mila. We have been in more contact since, and I am so grateful and hopeful that these are some of the people who are in part leading the charge, who are standing up and saying, not in my name, and are working in their own way to hold the line. So let's see. I wanted to, since Zach is on my screen now, I have to figure out where. Yeah, can you just give that back to me for a moment so I can find my notes? Okay, so again, like with Mila's story, I encourage you to read this whole thing. And the cavalry rolled in on aligning for a common purpose. The narrative of the truckers, this is just a piece of this letter. The narrative of the truckers was beautiful and tragic. The same people who we all believed had taken an enormous risk to their lives in early 2020 to feed the country during peak COVID hysteria were now being fired for doing exactly what they were called heroes for last year. It made no sense. Now they, the forlorn heroes, the Western Canadian cowboys, were going to ride into town and slay the dragon, and all for us. It was almost too good to be true, but they were exactly the heroes we needed, and not a moment too early. I still can't believe how close we were just last week to collapsing under the weight of our own despair. And just like that, the media turned its attention from the resistor next door onto them. They were vilified. This was the second galvanizing moment. The stories went, they weren't heroes after all. They were every ist you could imagine. There were only 12 of them, no, maybe 100 tops. They weren't coming, the highways were closed. They were dragoons and thieves coming to rape your daughters in the night. No, seriously, this was written. At every twist and turn, we secretly questioned their resolve in the face of this ruthless onslaught. Until yesterday, just like you would expect in a movie, the crowds emerged at our highways and byways, and it became clear that despite the best efforts of the naysayers and mainstream press, Canadians would ignore the strange stories and cast their lot with the convoy, betting against the narrative. We waited for hours, our toes freezing, sharing gloves and stories of friends and family members being ridiculed, silenced, and pushed out of society. The vaxxed and unvaxxed, working and unemployed, families and single people popped up with homemade posters and Canadian flags. Fear had given way to hope. We were not alone. And after 5 hours of delays, the cavalry appeared down the highway with flashing lights and blasting foghorns. They rolled in and rolled and rolled, literally thousands of trucks and truckers and vans and cars with flags and wagons and messages of hope from across the country with Bible verses of Jericho and Truck Trudeau flags. For 9 hours straight, we immersed ourselves in the electric and timeless moment. It kept on rolling. We were transported into the biggest cheerleading, flag-waving, poster-shaking party you could ever want to be at. We shared moment after moment with our heroes and with each other. The names melted away. We were all very, very real. We screamed and cried and hugged strangers. We filled each other's cups and promised without words that we will not go gently into the night. It was understood implicitly that we had each other's backs, and we were completely aligned for our common purpose. Our freedom. This is only the beginning of this moment. It is not nearly over, but there is no going back. I feel deeply that Canadians, led by our cavalry, were dragged across the Rubicon today. I so hope he's right. I so hope he's right.
Well, this does raise a question. I think it's very hard to know where to even stand for an objective view of how effective this is. But I will say, I'm watching some scary reversals of progress, but I actually take from them the inverse of the message that one might, right? I'm seeing
things like Italy doing more.
Well, no, I mean, it's delicate because he's a good friend, but I'm watching Joe forced to second guess himself a little bit.
Rogan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I really want him not to second guess himself, because I think the point is the reason that the pressure has come to him the way it has is that he is actually over the target, and this is the expected flack. And the point is, we are, I believe, much closer to a victory. And by victory, what I mean is a general revelation of how much we have been misled about. We are much closer to that than we think. And that is why things look bleak at the moment. And the trucker convoy is worthy of this level of slander because it is so dangerous to the narrative. And the fact of people coming to the roads to see them and supporting them is the evidence of what it really is. So I guess the point is, the worse the slander gets, the stronger the evidence that you are actually making a difference that power cannot tolerate. And I guess I would ask, as long as we're attempting to figure out what our power actually looks like, it is worth, in light of what Joe Rogan has done and how far he has brought us in terms of revealing the narrative to a huge audience, or revealing the falseness of that narrative. I would also ask people, I've been trying to get people to realize this is a human being. He does incredible things, but he's also, it's impossible to endure this level of slander and not have it get to you. And he's got some rules. He doesn't look at comments online and things like this to immunize himself, but there's only so insulated you can be when the world is saying terrible things about you at a decibel level that's just, your windows don't keep it out. And anyway, so I would ask people. I mean,
even the toy poodle royals are coming after him.
I think I don't know about the toy poodle royals.
Oh, whatever they are, Harry and Meghan.
Oh, right. Yes, okay.
With their 30 seconds, 30 dogs. Minutes of
okay, sorry. I was wondering, because it seems like he would be good with dogs.
Especially toy poodles. I mean, yeah.
Right. Yeah. But anyway.
Just, contain them anyway.
Hashtag thanks Joe Rogan, with all the words capitalized, has trended. I think I started it, but it trended a number of times over the last couple of weeks. And I believe it needs to keep doing that. And hopefully we do not want to fall short, just shy of the target, because suddenly the resistance was so strong that we thought it might be an infinite distance away. That's not where we are. The narrative has crumbled because it is not high quality and because the evidence caught up to it.
Yeah. And let me just say, this phrase, I don't even know exactly how it's invoked, but the idea that when you're getting the most flack, it's an indicator that you're right over the target, has always struck me as a little not right, because obviously there are a lot of ways that you can be getting flack that don't necessarily, metaphorically, you can be getting a lot of pushback when you're just wrong, for instance, or when you're over some target that isn't the one that you think it is, perhaps. But in this case, I would say, absolutely. Well, absolutely is and it's far beyond. Yeah, this is a lot of flack, and it's going on for a long time. Is he, and is he right over the target? Yeah,
he's right over the target, and they've switched topics too. As of today,
I was just going to say, like it's not even one target. It's like they're throwing all the flack at him, and they're in different. It's in different flavors and different. I don't even know how to do the metaphor, but
the flack over the target thing. The
flack doesn't come in flavors, does it?
Yes. Lead, right. The point is not that all flack indicates target.
Yeah.
It's that the flack you are getting is flack over the target.
Right, but that means that you can't take getting flack as evidence that you are.
Right. No, of course. Of course. And the thing is, an honorable person will recognize that difference. But the point is, in this case, this is flack over the target. What is the target? It is the COVID narrative and its bankruptcy morally and analytically. And
humanly.
On every front. And, let's put it this way. Anybody who thinks Joe Rogan is a racist either doesn't know the first thing about the man or is an idiot.
Right, but I didn't know that that's what they had switched to. But I mean, it's focusing on that is the same mistake as focusing on they called you a racist at Evergreen. Well, it was never what it was about, right? And that's not what this is about. They'll do anything, and in fact, as Evergreen unfolded on us and we saw our careers stripped away and all of this, I remember saying, oh my God, like there was one story and that was a lie and it's been revealed as a lie. Now there's a different story and it's also a lie, but it hasn't been revealed yet. Oh, they switched to a different one. And it was like 1, 2, 3, 4. They just kept on choosing another one because none of them held. And I think, we can hope and we must assume and we must do everything we can to make sure it is true that the same thing happens with Joe Rogan. It's so much more important in every regard.
Right.
That the attempts to deplatform, to cancel, to destroy, cannot be allowed to succeed.
This is exactly what I'm getting at, and believe me, it is in part a hard-won set of insights because of what you and I went through. We've been slandered, and we've seen what that looks like from the inside as things that are nonsense are said about you, and stories are inverted to make you look a particular way. And I just think... And
indeed, he invited you on so early.
Very first week.
And I remember meeting him, but when he was in LA still at that point, and meeting him in his studio, and our boys met him as well. And he was so honorable, such a good man, so just courageous and stalwart and wise and smart and human and compassionate and all of the things we have known him to be ever since.
Yep, he is. And what people don't get, because he's a larger than life figure, is that he's also exactly life size. And that means that we have an obligation. If we want somebody to do the job that he is doing, then we have to defend it, right? We have to defend it, even if it's not obvious that our position allows. I mean, for you and me, I guess it is, because we have a platform of a certain size. But the point is, what you do in all of these conversations where the slanders are being deployed matters. And anyway, thanks, Joe Rogan. Hashtag thanks, Joe Rogan would be great if it trended now in light of this nonsense. And really every time they hurl garbage at him in order to shut down his honorable and successful exploration of reality on many fronts.